Welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. We are live. We are a week away from the Premier League starting. Transfers are coming in. Man United are signing more players. Arsenal have signed none. Even City are struggling to sign players at the moment. What is going on? Are we in the twilight zone? I'm joined by Garth Lewis and Steve K. How you boys doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very well. 4 days, mate. 4 days away. 4 days away.
Yeah.
4 days to Man United. And who's you got, Garth?
Fulham.
Yeah. As they say on the YouTube channels, we will be there. Watching it.
There we go. Already people, someone in the comment section, how you doing, Russ? Good to see you there, mate. The transfer season is fully underway. Signings are being made left, right, and centre, but usually not for the teams that you support, which seems to be the common story at the moment. But also the prelude to the Premier League in the Community Shield. I was just showing my age there. Charity Shield. Charity Shield. When was the last time it was called the Charity Shield? Probably about
2002.
2002
was the last time.
Here we go. Yeah. We go 2002. All right. Who better to have in the room than Garth, who unfortunately his team lost, but I'm sure you can take many things away from the game. 1-1 draw, 1 on penalties by Manchester City, Garth, but seems like a good performance for Man United.
Yeah, it gives you hope, especially like Man City had a lot of players out. We had a lot of players out as well. Neither had the strongest team available on the pitch. So playing with no striker, which I don't like to see, but still, yeah, there's positives there. We look strong at the back. Haaland blanking at Wembley yet again. You know, I mean, that's going to become an issue sooner or later. If like you're not scoring in them big games, people are going to start asking questions, no matter if you do tonk 45 a season in, you know what I mean? So no, yeah, listen, it is a glorified friendly. If you win it, you love it. If you lose it, you don't really care, do you? You know what I mean? And you don't really care that you win. It's just nice to see your team lift a shield at Wembley, like. But yeah, no one claims it as a trophy, do they? So, but no, it's a decent performance. Sorry,
it's nice to see your team in a bit more of a competitive game. I know you do see your team towards the end of the pre-season get a bit more competitive, but the Charity Shield's just that little step up. I find it's a good warm-up for the Premier League.
Yeah, I don't want to deride it. You know what I mean? Listen, I would want to win it. I'm not saying I wouldn't. We all want, you know what I mean, to see a team lift something, no matter what it is. It goes in the team picture. You know, it's not like the Audi Cup or something at the end of the day. It is a real trophy, but you're never heartbroken if you lose it. So, on penalties, decent performance.
Whoa. I'm sure we've got Spurs fans out there. There's no need to like shit all over the Audi Cup. What did they win this year? The Toyota Supra Cup? I
know Bayern Munich beat them. Harry Kane refused to lift the trophy, didn't he?
Yeah. There was a huge dust cloud when they opened up the cabinet, but they've managed to put something in it.
Fair play. No, yeah, decent performance. Players looked all right. Again, getting up to speed. Nice to see Sancho getting some minutes on the pitch. Ahmed looking like he's going to try and cement his right wing spot. Rashford, big worry there, though. I will say that quickly. Like a couple of big misses again, looking at the same Rashford from last season. Yeah. Them hopes that maybe he's going to rejuvenate himself and be 2 seasons ago Rashford. Worrying because, someone said something to me about how he just needs to get a move and rejuvenate himself somewhere. The problem is he's on 300 grand. No one's buying Marcus Rashford. So we need him to buck up. We really do. But apart from that, decent performance all round. So I was happy enough with what I saw on the pitch, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, Steve, did you think much should be made of the Community Shield result and what you potentially would have seen on the day? That only a week away from the Premier League starting.
No, not really. I mean, it's the curtain raiser, isn't it? Mainly just for the the start of the season, and most fans look forward to it just because it's 9 times out of 10 it's a competitive football match, and that's what it was. I don't think it matters who wins or who lifts the trophies, and I don't think anybody cares whether they do or don't. Like Garth said, every fan wants to win a match, whoever you're playing, and from whatever competition it is, how little, how small. So you don't like to lose, and even if it's on penalties. I remember winning the Community Shield last year. We won it. I was over the moon when, Trossard scored a goal, but it never meant anything at the time. It just sort of, what I always look for, in these games is how sharp they look. Whether they're looking up for it, how fit they are. So if you're looking at your players, looking at your team, and because basically, you're just a few days away from the real thing. You want to see those players in those sort of games should be going full out. Full throttle. I mean, sometimes you can't put your full team out, whether it's for injuries or whatever, or for whatever reason, or they're just simply not fit. But the ones that do start and the ones that you are expecting to say start in Garth's case Friday or in Arsenal's case Saturday, you want to see them up to full level. That's what I want anyway. If I see them lacking off a bit or not running or a little bit off it, I would worry. I wouldn't be happy about that. The result wouldn't matter. That would be the more important part of the game for me anyway.
Yeah, no.
You boys must be happy though, because it was always a rule of thumb that if you win the Charity Shield, you don't win the league. That was always the.
I'd take that.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's always come to an end when it comes to Arsenal. This player's not scored in 450 games for the club. It's his first game back in 2 years after a double cruciate knee injury. Oh, he scored in 4 minutes. Unbelievable comeback. That's Arsenal. But if you've got a record that you want to be broken, play Arsenal. Right? Yeah. That's just the way. It's just the way.
But I think that's what pleased me. Just sorry to go on, but that's what pleased me about Arsenal's game against Lyon. That was fantastic for me.
Yeah, I agree.
They played against Lyon like they was going to be playing against Wolves on Saturday. They looked on it. Yeah. They are ready. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's the type. And although it's just Lyon and it's the Emirates Cup and all that, it's all meaningless. But the fact that these guys looked fit, they were sharp. That's what you want from that last game leading up until the first game of the season. That's what anyway.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. We've seen a transfer window which is quite the opposite to Man United at Man City. Do you see a lot more players in their team like Oscar Bob, and obviously we saw James McAtee the other day getting more opportunities for Man City, or do you think they're going to dash around for some last minute deals, Steve?
I think from what I'm hearing now, they're going to be doing something. What it's going to be. I wasn't impressed with Man City the weekend. Mm-hmm. And if they're going to, I know they use players missing. I know that, but they didn't fill me with fear. Looking at that performance, but no, I think they'll do something. I think they've got the money now. They've just, I think it was 95 million euro or 85 million euro for Alvarez.
Yeah,
I don't think they can not replace him. I think losing him and just having Haaland, who's over the seasons, look, I know he scored bundles of goals, but he is prone to picking up these injuries every now and then, isn't he? And being out the side. So for me, look, I've seen City fans, giving it the, we've got this player, we can do this in the number 9 Pep. He can't keep on doing it. Do you know what I mean? And I think City this year will definitely need to add to their squad if they was going to go and do a 5-peat, put it that way. And Alvarez, I think, would be a massive loss. But Edison looks like he's going to stay, so that's a plus. But I think they'll bring in a couple players. I still think they'll bring a couple. I think they've got to. I think they've got to bring in a couple of players because, I don't worry for them if they don't, obviously. But but Manchester City fans should worry if they don't, I think. So yeah.
Garth, you watched them pretty closely the other day. Is there any players that Oscar Bob played, James McAtee started as well? how much do you think they need to add to the team, and do you think they will add to the team?
Oh yes, Man City. They'll definitely add. For me, Oscar Bob looked really good. Like I thought he played really, really well. Like he looks brave, willing to take a man on, willing to do a man. So yeah, he was decent. McAtee, I'm not too sure about that one. I feel like that's another one like a squad player. You know what I mean? He's not. I don't think he's going to be first team. He's a squad player, in my opinion. What's the other? Rico Lewis looked firm, but again, their team was lacking. They were without a lot of their first team players, to be fair. So I don't think you can read too much into that Man City performance. So this is why I'm not like really like ecstatic that we drew with them, because their team was weak. They had no De Bruyne. They had no.
They was there for the taking, Garth, weren't they? They was there for the taking.
But, to be fair, Man United had a weak team as well. So
better finishing from United, and they would have come away with a win with that game. It was just up front where they was a little.
I don't know about it, because the thing with it is, the moment we scored, Man City went into a second gear. You know, the moment we scored, Bernardo Silva's on, Kevin De Bruyne's on. You know what I mean? Like, Pep won't lose to us. Like, so even if Rashford did tuck one of those two away earlier on, those players would have come on earlier, man. And Man City, you know, what I mean, at the end, we've got Palestri at right back. We're playing like. So but I mean, they've got a couple of good youngsters in the team, but they're going to have to add. I mean, obviously they've got was it Cunha, who didn't really play last year, like almost like a new signing for them. The guys they got from Wolves, is it Cunha?
Oh no,
Nunes.
Sorry, yeah. They got him. They got the new fella Silvino. I don't know anything about him at all. I really don't. I haven't watched much of him at all. He didn't really do anything in the game. He did come on, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he did. Scored penalty.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I really, if you're looking at it from an Arsenal perspective, I would not read anything into that performance from Man City. Pep never takes the Charity Shield seriously. They were at half speed all game, in my opinion. They really were. I know what you mean. They weren't impressive, Stephen. Yeah, Man United definitely should have put those away. And maybe we scored two like we did in the FA Cup final in quick six. Like, you know what I mean? We might have had the game. But the moment we did score, you saw him come off the bench. They've still got, I presume Bernardo Silva's staying for another year now, even though he wanted to leave as well.
It looks like it, I think it's a bit late for him to replace him anyway. They need to replace him, and it's a bit late for that.
But I mean, you know better than me. Are there any rumours at all on anyone?
Yeah. So one of the latest rumours I was just about to get onto was that Manchester City have been linked with a move to Rodrigo.
I can't see that.
After Mbappe signing for Real Madrid. Other than that, I've not seen anything out there.
No. Ezzy, they're linked with, aren't they?
Ezzy's the other one I heard. Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that signing makes sense to me in a way. You know, it does make sense to me because, Bernardo Silva, as good as he is, De Bruyne, as good as he is, we don't know what they're going to be like next season. I think he's going to be 34, De Bruyne. When he at some point during next season, he can't keep going on and being as good as he is. And Silva, again, the same. So Ezzy's that type of player who would fit into that role. And I still think they need. I still think they need someone to, because if Rodri goes down, because last season, I think City lost four games, and every single one of them was without Rodri. So it just shows you how important he is, and they haven't really got anybody in a number 6 to come in and replace him. I mean, Pep's talking about Calvin Phillips coming in to replace him.
But you laughed, Steve. That's Man City, isn't it? Calvin Phillips is an excellent bowler. He just doesn't get any minutes at Man City. If they get him up to fitness,
this is injuries.
But if they get him up to fitness, he's still a quality player. Like, I'd take him at Man United. I said that a couple of years ago. I'd take him at Man United. If you can get 20 games out of Calvin Phillips as backup to Rodri in the season, like he's no Rodri, but that's quality backup in my opinion. That is on it. Like it really is, man.
Sorry. Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Calvin Phillips? I heard
Calvin Phillips.
Oh, Calvin Phillips.
Yeah, Calvin Phillips. I mean, but the trouble is, if he does come in, and he ain't a bad player, you're right. But if you're looking at a midfield of Calvin
They got
Phillips.
they got
Kovacic
Kovacic as well.
and a
He's a good player.
34-year-old De Bruyne. Yeah, I'd have
but
some.
De Bruyne, I mean, Modric is 38. You'd still have him.
I'd have some of that. Do you know? But if you're manager, if you're Pep, I don't think that would be the type what you would be looking at. I think you'd worry about that going in Champions League. But Pep's Pep, and he could bring some.
I think with Man City, Pep, he's not silly. He plays De Bruyne in important games now and games where he has to play. He's not afraid to start him on the bench in games and bring him on later if he's needed. And I think we've seen a lot of that over the last couple of seasons. He's had a couple of bad injuries. I don't think they can really afford to be trying to play him for 40, 50 games a season anymore. So, yeah, I agree. They will buy someone. They always pull out a late one out of nowhere. And it's usually a pretty decent signing as well. I just don't see Man City not bringing in anyone.
I think we can all agree they need a striker, clearly, like you said, Steve. They need, because
you can't lose Alvarez.
You can't lose Alvarez.
No.
What did he get? 20 goals from last season? 15, 20 goals?
You can't comps he must have done, Yeah, you
can't take that out of City. You take that out of City. You take 15 goals out of City. That's disaster. Yeah, no.
And like Pep said, Haaland's that build where you get injuries, muscle injuries.
Yeah.
It just happens when you're that size and, you're that explosive. That just happens. Yeah. They'll buy a striker. I wouldn't be surprised, out of nowhere, if they just go and get Toney or something. You know what I mean? Like he did with Calvin Phillips. But just get him to have him, even though he's not going to play that much, or someone like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, they'll buy man.
Yeah, last season, Alvarez got 19 goals and 13 assists in all competitions.
Well, he's got to. He's got the money in the bank. That's good business, isn't it? I know he's a big player, but 85 million euro is good business, isn't it?
Again, he's won everything in the game, mate. Someone else said, I was saying it's outrageous. Someone said this to me, it's like he's won literally everything in the game that you can win. Copa America, World Cup, You've just said the stats that he's got. Man United paid 70 mil for Højlund. How much did you pay for Havertz? 65? You know what I mean? And he didn't 65. Have stats anywhere. I know Havertz is a good player, but he didn't have stats anywhere near that. You know what I mean? He's a proven goal scorer, a proven assist. He's a proven winner. So
I think you said it.
Look into it. I don't think it's outrageous. I really don't now.
Yeah, I don't think it's outrageous. They got him for 23 mil. Yeah. And I think you said it last week. Yeah. This is a signing that I feel like will be a massive player in Spain. Like, here go to Spain and he'll smash 25 to 30 goals in a season in the Liga. Like, he's that level of player. And I think that's why he wanted to leave, because he sees himself as being the main striker, not your backup striker, or even last season where he was in a 10 position playing because De Bruyne was out and he got more games, but he wasn't the main man. It was always a case of if Haaland comes back in, you're going to be second fiddle. And I think he knew that. Yeah. So going to Atletico Madrid, he's going to be the main star there, and I'd see him smashing in goals.
I think he backs himself.
He does.
I honestly believe that Alvarez thinks in his own head, and who are we to doubt him? Because you said, you've read the stats out there. He probably thinks in his own mind, look, if you played me every week instead of Haaland, I'd get what he gets.
Yeah, I think he does.
I think whether he will or not is another thing. But I think whether he backs himself, I think he backs himself in that way, because of the way it was coming out of City, how upset he was that he wasn't getting the game time that he thought he deserved.
Yeah, I agree. I can see why a little bit as well. On other strikers in the Premier League, Ivan Toney. How is his stock fallen so much since we saw him in the Premier League over the last two seasons? In England, he became a little bit of a cult hero. But Brentford striker Ivan Toney is being looked at by Saudi pro clubs, without Ali keen to take the 28-year-old striker. Steve, are you surprised that there's no takers for Ivan Toney?
Yeah, a little bit. It's quite we've got what is it? Is it 3 weeks of the window left? Just two and a half weeks left, and it's pretty quiet. Around him. There's not much. being said, in our industry of people, and I've asked around, and it's considering he was one of the players that you thought that everybody was going to be after this season, all the top clubs, you would have thought, there'd be like by this time people would be sort of like throwing in offers to Brentford, and there'd be like a bidding war, but. There's not. I mean, look, he was never an £100 million player. We was hearing that last week. That was a joke. No one was ever going to pay that. That was ridiculous. That was just like a hands off from Brentford saying that.
You think they made a mistake doing that?
Yeah, I do. I know for a fact that when he got to January, that they had offered him to Arsenal for 55. For some reason, Arsenal still didn't even want to know. Do you know what I mean? When everybody was reporting it around me, I was told that we wasn't that bothered in him. We, especially at 55, not even at 55, but at 30 million, I'm sure he's got to be a shout. I mean, I'm surprised Man United ain't all over this, because I mean, we're talking about when Man United want to be top 4, and that's their aim type of thing. If they had Ivan Toney up front, I'd pretty think
it don't suit our style, Steve. Man, we don't feed strikers.
But do you think that's because they've already got in? Like they've obviously
they've our number one, 70 mil. Yeah,
they've made moves for Chiba Obi. Brought him in. They brought in your man there for the Dutch
Zertsky.
So, I mean, you get into a point where it's like, you probably want to bring in some, because I don't think Chiba Obi at 16 is would be your third option.
That's what Ten Hag said.
I'm taking away the Højlund thing and the fact that obviously now they've got Xerxes and now they've got Højlund, that they obviously that they're not going to go in for Toney now. I don't mean that. I mean, if we lived in a world where Manchester United had money and it was spare and they had it like as confetti, for me, Toney's better than what they've got. I think he'd score more goals than Rashford, scored more goals than Højlund, and he scored more goals than Xerxes. And he's proven, and he's Premier League proven. He's a great penalty taker, and he's an England international. I'm baffled how more people. I mean, I think he would be now. I know what you're saying now, because Man United have got 2 forwards and the likeliness of them going in for Toney. But taking away that, if Toney was, up there in front next season, with Garnacho on one side, and whoever plays on Rashford on the other, or whoever's on the other, and Bruno Fernandes feeding Toney, that would put a bit of fear in me if I had to come up against them, much more than it would if I was coming up against Xerxes and Højlund.
You say so? What do I pick? I wonder if people aren't looking at him though. Like, I think people were thinking about him 2 years ago when he come back from his ban. He wasn't great. 17 games, 4 goals. Like, he really didn't perform. Then this is why people are staying away from him, I think, because he's got a big name now. I mean, he's 28. His contract's up in the summer. 30 mil. Is it actually worth it when, in reality, he's only ever had 1 good season in the Premier League? He's same Premier League proven, like he's Championship proven and League One proven, but in the Premier League, he's only, for the 3 seasons he's been there, he scored 12, 22 years ago, and then 4 last season in 17. It's not like he's a bags man, like a bags man. So I have to disagree with Steve. I wouldn't want Toney at Man United at the moment.
Would you call Højlund and Xerxes bagsman?
Yeah, well, that's not what I'm trying to say. If you're talking about bringing him in, he'll do so much better than Højlund. I don't think he would. That's what I'm saying. We don't feed the strikers. You're talking about Garnacho and Rashford. The whole thing about Højlund last year was that they wouldn't pass to him. He couldn't get any ball.
Yeah.
And Bruno Fernandes wants a player that runs in behind the defenders and stuff. Toney, again, he's more a target. He doesn't suit Ten Hag's system at all. And in my opinion, I think we're looking at a player that may be on the downward spiral, personally, especially if, like you say, Steve, I'm surprised that no one's going for him. but no one's looking at it. Spurs went and spent, 70 million on Solanke instead of going for Ivan
That's
Toney.
what I was about to get onto.
I think his attitude. I think his attitude and the betting thing. I think that's got something to do with.
You could shout, the betting thing as well.
I mean, a lot of teams why they've gone off. I've heard Arsenal didn't like his attitude. Don't have a bit, because they fell out with him a couple of times in matches when they played against Brentford, and I don't think. I don't think. I mean, how much you can believe in that, I don't know. But there's the betting thing. Ben, as you look at him, they think, well, do we want that type of player at the club? That's going to put a couple of big clubs off.
That's a character flaw as well.
Yeah.
Like that's a serious thing, especially when you've got players like Toney, who had, I know it's something completely different, but yeah, Toney who got banned for betting as well. And it's one of them things where, okay, it seems like it's over, it's done with, it's dealt with, but you're going to take the risk on a player. You're going to have to pay 150 to 200 grand a week on. He's going to sign a 4-year deal, and then you've got that worry in the background. I know, like I said, it's something that seems like it's past now, but yeah, I can see why there's certain clubs not taking a risk. But then on the flip side, as Steve's saying, you're talking about £30 million for a player who, okay, he only scored 4 goals last season. Is he the same player as he was 2 seasons ago? I don't think he is. I mentioned it previously about I don't think he's done enough since he come back for all this talk about Toney getting into a player. But what I did see in the Euros, there's a player there that's still Premier League, a Premier League striker. And there's not a lot of strikers around Europe that are of any level. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm quite surprised Chelsea aren't sniffing around. Just
kind of everyone. Then again, let me ask you, lads, if you're Brentford, he's got 1 year this on his deal. Do you just keep him? What's 30 mil to you? Do they need that money? Because you can't find another striker.
I think for Brentford, 30 mil for Brentford's different from 30 mil from one of our teams.
That's fair.
I've seen some of the players they're bringing in. We'll get through them in a sec, but 30 mil for Brentford is big money still. They're still a club that are still riding like a championship club.
But what I mean is 30 mil worth going down. That was where I was trying to get to with that. If Ivan Toney's going to bag you 15 Premier League goals this season, finding a striker that bags 15. Like we're talking about, Havertz didn't do it, Højlund didn't do it. Alvarez, did he get 15 in the league last year? I don't think he did. To actually get 15 league goals, is it worth 30 mil to them? And then they go down, and then they don't come back. That's why I wonder if Brentford are now.
I think people are probably weighing it up as well. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. There's not many strikers do get more than 15 though, do they?
And there's not many strikers about.
Window's very small, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You got your Watkins, you got your Zach, you got your Ireland.
Solanke did last year, but again,
Solanke, yeah. Apart from that, and then after that, you're struggling, aren't you?
Big time.
Yeah, we are. You are struggling.
And if you want a goal scorer, you're talking 100 mil now, no? If you want, I don't know how much. Like Gorkis is 65, 70 they're asking for. Isaac's 100. They're to go and get one of those actual bags, man. It's just hard.
The thing is, they're all asking for 100 mil. Anyone bags over 25 to 30 goals in a season in the league, they ask for 170.
Of course they will.
See, even with these Ossimans and these Gorkis who are just like bagging 1 and 2 in other leagues. To pay 100 million and just to assume that they're going to come and do it.
It's not a guarantee. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
It's too much money.
It's not. Especially when you do see strikers like Osimhen, who had an excellent season a couple of seasons ago, pretty decent season last season. You see him in the Champions League. Like when you're watching them a bit more closely, and you're seeing actually he's not that clinical. And if you're paying 100 million, you want as soon as he's in front of the goal, you like he's scoring. And I don't think there's not many players that you're getting that within the world. So,
and he's another one with an attitude problem. Who's known for that. And it puts people off.
Yeah.
No matter what they are. If you can come in and score 20, 25 goals, but if you're disrupting the dressing room, disrupting what everyone else is doing, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, very true. Brentford have signed Fabio Carvalho on a 27.5 million package from Liverpool with a 17.5 million sell-on. A player who hasn't really has he really got had a chance at Liverpool? He's been out on loan for the past 2 seasons since he's got there. Since he's £12.5 million move from Fulham, half a season on loan to RB Leipzig, followed by a half a season loan to Hull last season. Good signing for Brentford, Garth.
It's a great signing, in my opinion. I think Liverpool have let one go there personally, mate. I don't know if they need the money. It was just too good to turn down 27.5 mil for him. But yeah, for Brentford, great signing. I don't think he's top player, but that's a player that I feel like he gives a lot. Like he's one of them players that's even in that picture, look at him I know that's still, but he just looks like he gives a lot. I haven't seen much of him because I didn't realise how little he's played for Liverpool. That's crazy. 13 league games. That's all he's had for Liverpool. Literally 21 games total for Liverpool. Yeah. So obviously there's something that Klopp didn't like about him. I don't know what it was. So maybe we'll see that when he gets, because he's going to be a first team player, obviously. So but for me, 27 mil, I think when you're seeing players like Neto go for 60, I think that's a good deal personally. So yeah.
I think he's one of those players that demands quite a prominent position in the team. He's 10 as well. Scores goals though. Good, gets in and around the box. Good passer of the ball. Good, skillful player. Very creative. Steve, good signing for Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm an absolute expert on the player, but yeah, I mean, I echo what Garth said, and Garth's absolutely right. I think Liverpool just got rid of him probably mainly because of the money, because that's an incredible deal.
Yeah,
and when I see the what he was sold for, and what he went for, and what I knew other clubs had gone in for him for, I was like, what? And I'm sure they threw him in the car and drove him to Brentford, for that amount of money. I mean, Leicester had made a bid for 15 million. I think Southampton had also made a bid for 15 million, and they was turned down, flat by Liverpool. And then Brentford had come in with 27. Do you know what I mean? They probably went
17% sell on as well.
Yeah,
that's a good deal.
I mean, that is great business. Whoever, I mean, it's Michael Hughes, Edwards, isn't it? Who's back at the club? Yeah, that's an incredible deal for Liverpool and Brentford. Yeah, is it a good move for him? Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Brentford's a club that is known for taking those players that have either been released or they've got a good scouting system. They pick up the players that no one really knows too much about or have seen, but they take that risk. They were after Mudryk before Chelsea and Arsenal went after him, so they've got a good scouting system. They know what they know what they like, and he's a good player. I think.
I was about to say that's one of them 27 mil. I don't think it's a lot. I know it's still Brentford, but it's a good gamble for Brentford because if he has 2 good seasons, Chelsea are buying him for 75 mil.
Yeah, he's one of them players. 100% agree. He's one of them players. Yeah. He has a couple of good seasons. You have some big clubs sniffing around because he's known. Everyone knows about him, and that's just how it works. Another old England player, still young. Tammy Abraham, AC Milan are keen on a loan move with an option to buy for Roma's 26-year-old striker Tammy Abraham.
That's how he is.
Competition from Brentford, from Bournemouth, Everton, and Leicester City. Bournemouth, Everton, Leicester City, good signings for them, Steve. I know Dominic Calvert-Lewin is very injury prone, and they want to bring in another injury prone player in Tammy Abraham, but could be a decent signing if they could get him.
Yeah, good signing. I mean, he scores goals, didn't he? Most of the places where he's been, he's not what you would call prolific, but in the Premier League, he's an hard worker. He gives 100%, and look, I mean, very very similar in the mould of Solanke-ish, isn't he? He's very sort of, they're a little bit similar. You can see why a club like Bournemouth are interesting. You can see why a club like Everton are interested, and especially with the injuries that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has had, and there's also a few rumours going about that Dominic Calvert-Lewin may be possibly moving on towards the late stages of the window. We've seen Newcastle have been interested in him. Look, I mean, is it a drop down for Tammy Abraham from going from Chelsea, from where he's been, and then back to them probably, but his career's gone a little bit downhill in the last season or so. You haven't heard much of him. But yeah, has he been injured? Yeah, that's probably why then. But yeah, good places to start his career. And as I say, when he was in the Premier League, he's, I think Arsenal were even knocking around at one point, weren't they, for him and interested in him? So yeah, definitely be a good signing for all those clubs.
Garth, he's not prolific at all, but do you reckon that the right man should get something out of Tammy Abraham? He's a couple of bad injuries he's had. Would it be the right move coming back to the Prem?
Yeah, I think the right move coming back to the Prem. I think, personally, a Bournemouth, not just because I live here, but that'd be great. That'd be a coup for Bournemouth if they bring Tammy Abraham in. But he's not prolific, but he's got a weird, Chelsea Premier League when he's young, 34 games, 15 goals, 18 overall. Then he moves to Bristol in the Championship, bags 26. Then he has a season where he only scores 8. Then he's at Villa, bags 26. Then he goes to Roma, Serie A, bags 27. Next season he bags 9. And then he's been injured this year. So, I think he's one of them players. If you can get the right system around him, the right management, and he stays fit, any of those things. What was it? Did you say? So Everton, Bournemouth?
Everton, Leicester, Bournemouth. Yeah,
any one of them three, I think that'd be an absolute coup for him. Because and Tammy Abraham, that reignites his England career as well if he comes back to England. Because for some reason, England managers don't seem to pick players from abroad. I don't know what that's about.
Even though it doesn't matter how well they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know how good he's done.
Dudley.
Yeah. So listen, and I doubt it'll be expensive. I mean, what price range are we talking? Excuse me.
I haven't really seen too much, but I doubt it'll be too expensive.
30 mil again, you know what I mean? It must be around there, surely. I would have thought. So listen, good. So obviously the prestige move is going to Milan. And that's where obviously, you know what I mean. So if the Milan are in on the table as well, playing in the San Siro, you can't turn that down. But for him personally, for them teams, any one of them gets him, that's fair play. And if you can get him firing, I think you've got a 15. Well, we were just saying it's hard to get him. I think you've got a 15 goal a season league striker there for one of them teams.
For Leicester, Bournemouth, and Everton, that's at least mid-table, at least. Yeah. Leicester City have an agreement in place with Bayer Leverkusen, attacking midfielder Adam Holzek in a 20 million euro deal plus add-ons. Adam Holzek, a well-known
great signing.
Very good signing.
That's a great signing. What he said. Yeah. No, mate. I mean, I don't know how he's been recently. Not too sure, but when I see this, I was like, that's a great signing. We know him well from a couple of years ago, haven't we? From Golden Boy. One of the top youngsters in Europe. Hasn't really kicked on, has he?
No, I think it's because it's got what's his name? Wirtz. Sorry, he's got Wirtz in front of him, isn't he?
But a player with undoubted talent, and they've got a gem there. That's a great signing. I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, so am I.
And seeing what he can do, because he's the type of player who can do special things. He's a match winner.
Yeah.
And Leicester are going to struggle obviously next year, and having a player like that is, could be something, could be gold dust. Do you know what I mean? Keeping them up.
Even not thinking too negatively, but if they were to go down and he was to have a good season, you're talking 20 million euros. That's something. Make money on that. Very good sign. I think I remember Thomas Rosicky saying that he's the best player that he's seen come
from that's right.
Prague. So says a lot. Garth, thoughts on the signing for Leicester?
I mean, great signing. Lose Dewsbury Hall and bring him in. That's a great bit of business. And they got 10 mil more for 35 actually for Dewsbury Hall, weren't it? So
£35 million as well.
So listen, Steve's hit the nail on the head there. I mean, his end product isn't great. I will say that about it, which is maybe why some of the bigger clubs aren't taking a risk on it. But he's exactly what I was saying about. Sorry, I forgot who it was. I said the player comes in. Exactly that. Same again. Comes in, does well for a couple of years. Man City, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea. Boom, 50, 55 mil for him. So great business for Leicester all round. Exactly like you said, if he goes down as well. You know what I mean? Maybe they can keep him as well. That's a player that brings you straight back up. So I'm exactly the same as you boys. Excited to see what he brings to that Leicester team in the Premier League. Very excited. And I've got a feeling that might be a cheap little FPL player as well. I might have to have a little look at that when has he actually joined yet?
Let's not try and be too clever with those FPLs because you know how that goes.
Yeah, you know.
Game week 3, still got 39 points overall. Like, don't do it.
Or you pick up my team should win the title, the team I picked. But like,
I mean,
they end up absolutely. I always do tosh and end up being bottom of most of them.
I just forget after 4 weeks. That's what happens every time. I just stop doing it and then 10 weeks later, I'm like, let's have a look at it. Bottom 400 points of everyone else. Yeah, I'm going to give it a miss this season again.
Another shot one. Chelsea are looking to make a surprise move for João Felix out of nowhere to hope to revive that move for Conor Gallagher to Atletico Madrid. Steve, João Felix, see why Chelsea might be wanting to bring him back? Is it just to keep that deal alive? Do they actually need João Felix?
No, they don't need João Felix. All this is just to get a player out of Atletico Madrid so they can make sure they can get rid of Conor Gallagher or whatever, or they can make up their money, or balance their books. Do you know what I mean? They could have taken João Felix, Bobby Felix, Alex Felix, any Felix. I don't know what they're doing. I don't see how he fits in at Chelsea. I don't see where João Felix fits in. I think we had like a conversation the other week, and it's like it's very difficult to find a club where he fits in. There was times at Chelsea when he was there before that he did all right. He was okay, but after again they found him he ended up in the bench after a while, didn't he? Yeah. Whenever he was manager, like he is everywhere. Yeah, so. Yeah. No, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it happens because it's Chelsea, but I don't think it's because of the player. I'm sure there's some, ulterior motive behind it. Why they're bringing him in?
All right, João Felix, not a fan.
No, I mean, I'm sure I've had this conversation before. He's a myth. Yeah. João Felix is a myth, mate. Like, I don't know why clubs keep looking at him. He's never done anything anywhere. What is he? 25 now. Yeah. Doesn't play, doesn't score, doesn't assist. Yeah, he looks silky on the ball. But he does nothing. He has no end product. I know that a lot of his fans will say that Atletico was not the team for him under Simeone because he's a mercurial player that likes to show off. But he was at Chelsea, did nothing for him. He scored one nice goal against Man United. I don't know what position he plays. Can anyone tell me? He's that dreaded Championship manager AM centre, but but the old school one where that wasn't a position on the pitch for them. Barcelona tried to take him. Xavi left him on the bench after 12 games because he wasn't doing enough. Listen, maybe he'll finally prove me wrong one day and become the player that Atletico Madrid paid 111 mil for, or whatever it was. But I have never, ever got the hype for Felix. I've never understood it. At Chelsea right now, I mean, who they got? Nkunku plays in that position, obviously. Cole Palmer plays in that position and on the wing. Listen, Chelsea, man. Someone they're going to get an auditor going there and run through them books, and they're getting dealt with because there's no way what they're doing is right. There's no way what they're doing is within the rules. They've got no hotels. Even if it's in a couple of years, they're screwed, man. Because they've got no hotels left to sell. They've got no English talent that come through the academy left to sell. They're not going to be able to buy anyone because they ain't going to be able to sell anyone. They're done, man. Chelsea
they're solely right. They're going to be riding off the hope that, like you said, the youth players that they've got coming through they're going to be able to sell on. They're going to be trying to snap up any youth player that could potentially be released from a club. Look what they made 20 or 25 mil on Amari Hutchinson. One came to Chelsea, one season, get him out on loan, sell him again. And I know what you're saying, that they can't continue to do that. The next one will be Alfie Gilchrist, who got some game time last season. I think he's going out on loan this season. That's going to be.
But what I mean is some of them players need to play well because otherwise clubs aren't going to keep doing it. That's my point. That doesn't matter. I mean, Amari Hutchinson, is he that good? Maatson, I heard great things about him. I've never really seen. I think Todd Bowley. I hate to say it, I feel for Chelsea fans. I really do, because their club is getting torn apart from the inside out. Like
Wouldn't go that far.
really. No, I know. I hate Chelsea as well, Steve, but I don't like to see an institution. Like, I wouldn't want to see it happen to you boys. I wouldn't want to see it happen to Liverpool, Man City. Like, Todd Bowley is running that club like a joke. Like, what, they got 8 goalkeepers now? They've signed another one for 20 mil. Where are they getting the money?
45 wingers. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. And then to
It's
go out and
But,
that,
but what he's got to do, you say he's got to sell players on, but he's got to hope these players, that people want to buy them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
We've already seen Madrid, 80 million.
Yeah.
What are they going to? That's 40 million they've lost on him.
Yeah.
How many more of them are there going to be? How many more of them they're going to they've bought that people are just not going to want to buy? And what?
That's what I'm saying. They're going to lose money on everyone.
Exactly. And when are they going to get game time for clubs to go? Oh, he looks decent. I'll buy him for 15, 20 million over what you said, or 10 million over what you've bought him for.
Yeah.
I don't see this saying he's obviously got a plan. He's obviously doing it for a reason. I just think it's just business and money.
Yeah,
I don't think he's got no because there's no pattern to his players he's buying or where they're going to go or what or like a system to what they play. They're bringing in sacking managers left, right, and centre. There was Pochettino last season. He was building, started bad but he started getting it right, and towards the end of the season, it got to a point where you thought, oh, Chelsea look okay now. They're getting some kind of, we're seeing some kind of system. And then in the next minute, they sack him and bring some geezer in from Leicester, who apparently ain't all that.
Yeah, that spun me. The bringing in the Leicester manager. I just can't make any sense of it.
It's because he's a Pep disciple. He's a Pep disciple. Like someone said this on TikTok or YouTube. It was like Man United back in the day when Brian Kidd was getting management jobs and Steve McLaren.
You think he's seen what Arteta's done?
Yeah, and he's 1,000%. Yeah. Also, obviously. Yeah, Pochettino didn't want to stay there, did he? Because obviously Todd Bowley was like, I'm buying these players. And Pochettino was like, I don't want them. I don't need them. Like, stop it. And I think, as I understand it, I mean, one of you boys may know better. I understand that's what happened there. There was a fallout. And then he was, But yeah, like, it's 100% what it is because he's a Pep disciple. Someone said, like, you saw it back in the day, like, you worked with Fergie, you got a job somewhere afterwards. Like, even if you were one of Fergie's players, look at like Roy Keane getting jobs, I mean, look at Paul Ince getting jobs, like, et cetera, like, because you were hoping that some of that Fergie magic would have rubbed off on it. Arteta, because Arteta's done so well as well, they're hoping to replicate that, ain't they? But yeah, I mean, listen, have you seen their pre-season form? They have been horrific. So,
41 players in their squad. That's ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing like they're going to sell Raheem Sterling. He's on 350 grand a week. He ain't going nowhere.
Who's taking Sterling at the moment? And they can't even do what they used to do because you can only loan, a maximum of 8 players out your squad now as well. So, like, they're in trouble, man. They're in big trouble.
Yeah, no, they are. And they keep on getting linked to players, which is absolutely mind-boggling. Stuttgart are in talks with Armando Borja on a loan from Chelsea. The 22-year-old Albanian striker is open to joining the German club. It's not surprising. He needs to play. Yeah. That's another player who needs to get game time because he's a decent player. He's a decent young striker. He's got all the attributes to be a good European striker, but he needs game time. Otherwise, it's just going to...
I just can't see Cole Palmer staying there for much longer, to be honest with you.
Do you think?
Why would you? Why would you want to stay there? Man City are probably. Oh, can you imagine Man City now? Now Elvis has gone. They're probably thinking, "Oh, why did we sell Palmer?" What would they? What would they give? To sell him. We might even be similar. Because Emil Smith-Rowe scored 2 goals in 2 games, isn't he, in pre-season? Yeah. So we'll probably have a Cole Palmer situation, which someone's already mentioned somewhere.
You can't keep them all, though. You can't keep them all.
You can't keep. But Palmer's quality, and he's got his head screwed on his shoulders, and someone makes a big bid for it, and they probably wouldn't think twice about selling him anyway.
Of course they wouldn't.
They wouldn't. If they got offered double the money that they 80 million, which is probably you'd probably get that for him now after that one season, they'd take that.
They may be forced to as well. They may be forced to. Like, if the sustainability rules are as I understand them, this is what I mean about Chelsea in a couple of years. They may be having to do a Conor Gallagher. being like and a Shabala. Like, you've got to go in the 120. You've got to leave. You've got to go. Otherwise, we're getting 20 points deducted. You've got to leave. So, yeah, they're a mess.
See, the only other player that you would think that they've got, they could sell for big money or at one point, or not now, but they could have sold for big money, is Reece James.
Yeah,
but the people were talking 80 millions a little while ago, and we would you would have said, okay, but now
100% when he's on form. Yeah.
Now, do you know what I mean? He just can't stay
fit, and he's big injuries. Big injuries.
Big.
30, 40 million probably now.
Yeah, it's a gamble if you take him. It's a gamble.
It's a gamble. 30 million for Reece James is a gamble. And I agree. When you was talking about 80 mil, because he's got, for such a big sort of powerful player, he's got pace, he can score goals, he gets assists. He was looking like he was going to be something special. But these injuries are a big, big burden on him. So he needs to see a couple of seasons injury-free before there's any Chelsea get any money from him. Otherwise, he's just going to be that guy.
It will be a great signing for Stuttgart, though. Like, that's a good, that's one of the players. I'm not sure if he's a bagsman or not, but I've got a feeling that if he gets a proper season under his belt, like, he could go on to be a reasonably good striker. Borja, I've always.
He scored a few goals for Southampton, didn't he? Borja, in the time that he was there.
Yeah, I think it was more when he did for Tessie scored. I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, and for Tessie got 11 in 34, Southampton 9 in 38. But again, when you're not getting minutes your first season in the Premier League, a team like Southampton, who were getting spanked that year, spanked, then that's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. So.
Yeah, just talk about 1 in 3 for a team that got relegated that season as well. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. So I agree. Germany, I think, could be a good call in, gives players confidence to get the right game time as well.
Yeah, strikers generally do well with it, don't they?
To develop over there. Tottenham confirmed the signing of Dominic Solanke. It's understood Spurs will pay Bournemouth £55 million up front with a fee raising to £65 million add-ons. Bournemouth have also just come in. Bournemouth have also added Eddie Nketiah to the list of options to replace Dominic Solanke after initial talks with Porto for Ivan Nilsson. A bid has been rejected by Porto. Steve, a little bit on the Eddie Nketiah one while we're here. Are you surprised that Arsenal turned down the 30 million offer, or the offer that Marseille put in? And do you think it's a little bit too late for them, once Marseille had been looking at other options, to be open to dropping the fee on that?
Yeah, a little bit. From what I'm sensing, I think they got a bit fed up with Arsenal fannying around.
Yeah.
I think they was talking for a while, and they offered one price which was pretty close to what they wanted, but then Arsenal refused, rejected it. And then they went up a little bit more, which wasn't far off what Arsenal wanted, but it just was a little bit off. And then Arsenal rejected it again. And in the end, I think from what I'm hearing, Marcel just went, we'll just pull out, and they pulled out, and they got the other guy, didn't they? Who is it? Oh yeah, it was a fantastic signing, to be fair to him.
Eli Wahi.
I mean, he's an excellent player. This guy. I'm not too sure if I don't know if he's a centre forward. I might be wrong. I thought he was more of a wide player, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, he's a forward. He's a forward in the England these days. Yeah, he's a forward. He can play anywhere, sort of thing. But I think he's Eddie Nketiah is just straight down the middle. Eddie Nketiah is a little bit different. But I think it was Arsenal messing about kids. I think they was very close, and sensing it was a little bit of, I think he'll still leave. I think he'll still go. I think there's plenty of clubs who are interested in Nketiah. As you said, Bournemouth makes sense. Crystal Palace have always shown interest. I think he'll probably leave before the window's shut. And I think Nketiah sort of now resigned himself that he will be leaving. But it's important for him to go, really, because Arsenal sort of
want to get their book straight, and it's sort of like on a one in, one out situation at the time. But yeah, I mean, not surprised that the Eveson deal was turned down for Porter. He's a good player. He is Evelinson.
Good player.
Arsenal was interested with him in January. So yeah, but Arsenal messing about on this one, and Marcel getting a little bit pissed off in the end, and I think that's why this didn't go through.
Yeah. I think Arsenal are a bit silly there, holding out.
It was too close, mate. It was too close. The offers and what we wanted was, you would have thought, deal. Something can be sorted out.
Just take it.
Yeah, something can be sorted out.
Come on,
30 mil for Nketiah, I would have ripped their arms off, mate. I know that the market's inflated now, and I'm not just like digging him out, but Nketiah is, I mean, he's a third choice striker, man. That is what he is. Like, he don't really score. Like, I know he's he's a decent enough player, but like how? Yeah, I can't understand why Arsenal turned that down. I mean, how much were they looking for, Steve, in the end? Like, what did they want?
I think it was 30 million euro, weren't it? They wanted for him.
And that's what they offered.
27 plus
27, 25,
25, 27.
Arsenal, you may regret that. You may regret that if someone don't come in and buy him.
And that's what that's why I said what I said when it stinks to me about like Arsenal pissing about.
No, it is. I think it was silly from Arsenal hiding.
Yeah, and you've got to show respect. I mean, it's our club, but in our game, do you know what I mean? You sometimes you do have to look at it, and you're looking at 2.5 weeks in a window. Marcel want to get a striker, and you're pissing about over 2-3 million. Do you know what I mean? If you're the other club, it's all right. Arsenal fans going, well, get hold out for what you want and all that, but sometimes you've got to look at the other team. And for me, Marcel were probably right in the end to pull out.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree because, look, as you said, it's a few million here and there. What are Arsenal going to do with Eddie Nketiah next season? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
And they're only going to wind down his transfer value at the end of the day.
Especially if he's underground wages and 30 million is going to stop Arsenal bringing in whatever.
Yeah, and he was willing to take a pay drop as well.
I was talking about a pay cut as well. Yeah.
So it's very, very silly from Arsenal there. Arsenal are willing to open to offers for Tomiyasu, Steve. Another injury for Tomiyasu. It looks like his time could potentially be up. A little bit frustrated with the amount of injuries he's had, and to have another one in pre-season.
Yeah.
Tomiyasu. He seems to be made of glass.
No surprise, this one, is it, kids? Do you know what I mean? It was no surprise to me when I heard it this morning. And he's on the transfer list. He can't get really more plainer than that. I don't know exactly what they want for him or what they would take for him. I really don't know. I think we paid around about 15 million euro, wasn't it? From Bologna, around about something like that. And there was actually talks when Arsenal were doing the Calafiori deal of him possibly going back there because they're like for like players. They're exactly the similar players. Yeah. So from what I've been told, Arsenal did actually offer, but because of that, Bologna needed to play Basel half the fee of what Arsenal paid them. An actual bringing in a player as part of a swap deal just did not make sense. Although the actual bringing in the Tomiyasu part of it, sort of like it appealed to them because it was just like a direct replacement, and he's obviously played at Bologna before, so everything fitted in like a glove. Apart from the fact that they owe Barcelona half the money of the deal, so it couldn't happen. But look, big fan of Tomiyasu. Love Tomiyasu. When he's fit, when he's on it, he can come in and get regular run outs in the side, and he can even take the spot of whoever's in front of him. He's done that many times, but he can't stay fit. He's never been. He's got an injury list as long as your arm, and look, it's no surprise that they're willing to listen to offers. So it'd be a shame. A lot of people like Tomiyasu. as I say, I like him. But if he can stay fit, and he's a great buy for someone, an absolute great buy.
Yeah, Garth, no surprise that Arsenal are looking to get rid of Tomiyasu, open to offers for Tomiyasu after another injury setback in pre-season.
Yeah, but I mean, you're in the same position as Chelsea with Reece James, ain't you? Who's willing to take the gamble on him now? I like Tomiyasu. You know what I mean? If we're talking about a fit Tomiyasu, I'd have him at Man United in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, mate,
100%. Yeah, great player. Like a seriously good player. It's one of them ones again. I feel sorry for these boys whose careers are just done because injured all the time. You know what I mean? So, I mean, no surprise. I mean, realistically at this stage, you're looking. I mean, for someone to take a gamble on it, what 15 or 20 mil, realistically, and I mean that'd be good business, I think, for you as well. So get your money back for him. You know what I mean? Get your money back for him, and hope that it never works. We do this. We buy these players hoping that they're going to be fit, and they never are they? So yeah, I feel sorry for the man because he's a quality baller.
Yeah, no, he is quality, consistent. Really.
He would be. I mean, he's one of the players. If he went to someone like Man United, he was the one that would dig. Do you know what I mean? That would hurt. That one.
Yeah, it's no surprise that Bayern Munich was sniffing around him.
Yeah.
Very much.
I mean, Man United have bought is it Mazraoui?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too sure how good Mazraoui is, but I think Tomiyasu would be. Do you know what I mean? I think he would be a better buy than him. But but we'll see what happens with him, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Breaking news, breaking Liverpool's hearts. Martin Zubimendi has rejected the opportunity to join Liverpool. He's informed Richard Hughes of his intention to stay with Real Sociedad this evening. Literally dropped about 19 seconds ago. What's your thoughts on this one, Stevie? Are you surprised, or is it time with what he was basically saying at the end of last season, where he's looking happy to stay at Sociedad?
No, it doesn't. This doesn't surprise me. He did the same thing to Arsenal. He done exactly the same thing. You know, he mirrored what he did to Arsenal. Arsenal thought they was going to get him. They thought they was going to sign him. They thought they had everything agreed to sign him. But at the last minute, he said, "Oh no, I don't want to go. I want to stay here." That was last year, and he's done the same thing to Liverpool. So, according to people that I've been talking to, he's a strange man. He's a strange character. He's literally someone who don't care about, playing for teams like Liverpool's, Man United's, Arsenal's. He's just happy to play where he is, finish 4th, 5th, 6th, playing for Real Sociedad. He loves where he lives, and that's him. Not many footballers like that about. The Matt Letizia of the La Liga, I suppose, something like similar to that type of thing. But I mean, big loss to Liverpool, because if they could have got him, then that for me that would have I would have sort of put their chances of finishing higher up in the league more than what it is at the minute, because he's a top player. But unfortunately obviously now they've got to go and look elsewhere. But I'm quite pleased they haven't got him, to be honest with you.
I can tell that by the smile on
your face.
Not hold it back at all. Garth, a loss for Liverpool. They've got to try and bring in someone in that midfield position who's on that level of Zubimendi. There's not many people about of that price.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. It's so hard to get these Basque players out of Real Sociedad, isn't it? At the end of the day, and that's what they know, that he knows that his market value is probably worth more than 51 mil at the moment. And so, what's the bet? And you see him re-sign a new deal in the next year. The release clause goes up to 80, 90 mil or something like that, and then it becomes you've got to give us the real money for him. So big loss for Liverpool. Fair play to him. I mean, it's just that's the thing in it. What's the other one? Atletico in it. It's just so hard to get the players out of them.
It's the same.
Sociedad, Sevilla.
It's the hour. Steve's gone.
The hour mark. The missus cut off in the next stage. He has to quickly run upstairs and say, "Please give me 10 minutes.
Come on.
Please, just give me some more time. I'm nearly finished." He's back.
But yeah, big loss for Liverpool. I don't know who's out there really in that because we're all looking for that defensive midfielder around the 50 mil mark. I mean, Ugarte maybe. Like he ain't the same player as Zubimendi, but that's the price range that they wanted for him.
I think with Zubimendi, it's a tough one. He's a bit more like Alcantara, isn't he? Where he sits a bit deeper. He's a bit more of a playmaker.
Yeah,
like he's like a Michael Carrick. Like they're hard to find. They're hard to find, which is why when you get them, you want to keep them. Like I don't know too many people that sit deep in midfield or sit in midfield and spray balls and dictate play like him. Like, there's not many around, man. And when they are, they're the top players in the world, which is why loads of teams were sniffing around Zubimendi. Yeah.
I mean, would he come in the final? Was it the final or the semi-final?
Yeah. I was expecting sweet. They've lost Rodri. Nope. Do you know what? They've actually made the team better.
Yeah, he made them look better, didn't they?
Fluid. It was ridiculous. I was like, get this player off.
Yeah, but so it's the same with, you mentioned it, same with Nico Williams. Do you know what I mean? He just can't, for some reason, like Garth's already said, he just can't get him out of their clubs.
Russ knows the deal. Steve misses turn the internet off. It's 9 o'clock.
It's because the clubs obviously they don't only buy Basque and Catalonian players, but they have that big thing where they only, I said only again, where they want the majority of their team to Sociedad it's Basque and the other one it's Catalonia. They want them to be that player, and it's weird, man. It is weird. It's always been, again, Championship manager. It was always a slog to get a player out of that club. Always a slog to get a player out of that club.
It's a risk. It's also a risk. Look, Arsenal had that with Antonio Reyes, and he was very much a player who was like he cried when he left Sevilla. Jesus Navas done the same thing, cried when he left Sevilla, was homesick the whole time he was Man City. Yeah. And it's just one of those things where if you're going to pay big money, you want those players to be a bit more worldly, to be happy to move about. Like, I'd be thinking elsewhere. I'd be looking to see what his mentality is like.
They don't want to come to the rain, do they? You know, why would they want to leave Seville?
Do you know what? I don't blame them. Don't blame them.
Even when it's when it even is sunny, it's like today, and you're just
it's different type of hot. There's no breeze. It's just a brick wall of heat. It's not nice heat.
Humidity 67%.
Like humidity, just cut it with a knife, mate. It's not the same. It's not the same. Don't go and sit out in this coffee with the traffic going past.
A little breeze.
See, like it's different in Spain. It's not the same. Not the same. More transfer news before we get to the end. Newcastle are increasingly confident in signing Mark Gahey. Deal done with the new proposal sent to Crystal Palace. Aaron Wan-Bissaka signed for the West Ham contract already today. All documents in place. West Ham and Manchester United have it all set. Docs signed too in a £15 million agreement.
Building a team there, isn't they? Building a team, West Ham.
I think this is a great signing for West Ham. I really do. I really, really think this is a really good signing for West Ham. They're sort of player. I know you talk about Man United and West Ham, though, Garth. West Ham sort of player. Kufau, I think it's an upgrade on Kufau. Garth is shaking his head slightly. What's your thoughts, Garth?
It's not. I'm shaking my head. We said all this about Calvin Phillips, man, and he got found out. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is decent, but there's a reason that we're exchanging him for Mazraoui, basically, and that's because he just isn't good enough. He's good, but I don't know whether he changes West Ham that much. I mean, it's a very different player to Kufau. Like, you get nothing out of him going forward, and I mean nothing. You get nothing out of him going forward. Yeah, he's got a great recovery tackle, but he also like he allows men to get down beside him to put that tackle in all the time and everything. Listen, again, he may prove me wrong, but I've got a feeling that you'll see Aaron Wan-Bissaka just fade into the ether of he's a footballer like an Aaron Cresswell at West Ham. Like, good players, obviously they're Premier League players, they're decent, but I think I'm not sure that that's the move that he should have made. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's been at Man United for a long time now. He ain't been in the trenches for a while. Like, I got a feeling like It goes one or two ways.
Rio Ferdinand going to QPR.
QPR, yeah, like it goes one or two ways. He either really, really shines there, which is, I'm guessing, what you two are thinking, or it's my way. We're like, where he just becomes another body on the pitch, is what I think that you'll see at West Ham with him.
Yeah. I think he's just. I mean, he's a defender, isn't he? He's not someone who can go forward. He's not going to do it. He's not going to help Bowen out that much, is he? Do you know what I mean? If anything, Bowen's the type of player who will help him out more. Which really, you would have thought maybe Bowen doesn't have to do that much next season, because, Wan-Bissaka's more switched on defensively, where I think Bowen had to do a lot of work last season, because, last season, West Ham fans, I'm really close to them. All they did was slag off Carvalho left, right and centre. Can't wait to get rid of him.
That's West Ham, isn't it? They always do that. Everybody play, they don't
maybe they was moaning about how Bowen has to keep coming back and he was dropping too deep. But maybe with Wan-Bissaka there, maybe, in other areas of the pitch, it will allow Bowen to play better. I don't know. He's they bought Todibo as well. That was a good sign.
That's not a good. Look, 15 mil, it's decent business. It's not a risk at 15 mil, but I'm always so disappointed with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He switches off too much. He doesn't have the mentality to be a top level defender. And that's what it comes down to. You're thinking about his amazing tackles. You're thinking about him running back, the spider, getting that slide tackle in. Do you know why he's getting that slide tackle in? Because he switched off, and now the winger's three yards in front of him. And that's the problem with Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
He's not a modern day defender, is
he? He certainly ain't an inverted fullback.
He's not modern.
Back. No, he's an old school right back, man. Like, listen, decent business for West Ham, but West Ham fans, like, as someone who's watched him a lot, don't get your hopes up like high, because there's a big chance, in my opinion, that it goes the other way from what a lot of people are thinking it will do.
All right, well, remains to be seen. Before we go, Steve, yes, this one. Before we go, it's going to be people asking. Kingsley Coman, latest rumours that Arsenal are looking at Kingsley Coman, potentially a loan deal. What's the latest you got on that?
Yeah, I did check it out this morning, funny enough, and what I was told was that there wasn't much in it. The source that I've spoken to said it makes sense, Arsenal, this one, especially if it's a loan with an obligation to buy, because then that means that, all the talk at the moment is, are we going to bring in a winger, and are we going to bring in a forward as on top of a midfielder? If you're going to bring in someone with an obligation to buy, who's a winger, someone like Coman, who's a very experienced, good player, it sort of like would make sense to Arsenal, to be in for him and bring him in. Look, I haven't heard anything really concrete on it. A little couple of seasons ago, he actually turned down Arsenal, which probably wouldn't have gone down well. It generally don't with Arteta. If you turn them down once, they very rarely. So it's like, okay. But personally, from a fan's point of view, I wouldn't mind this. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind seeing coming in, buy with an obligation to loan. That's good. That's a good deal, because, as I say, then that allows you to probably bring someone else in as well. And going by like what I watched on the weekend against Lyon, do you know, Saka's still on the pitch again, isn't he? Yeah. For like 90 minutes nearly. And I'm like, why are you on the pitch 90 minutes? Again, surely we're bringing in a winger. So I'll be shocked if we don't bring in a wide player again. Unless Arteta's got other plans. But look, good player. But, struggling for game time at Bayern at the moment. Do you know what I mean? A lot of good players there. So, there's going to be a lot of clubs after. I've heard Spurs or a team that's looking for him as well, looking at him. Interested in there. He's part of the CAA base, which a lot of Spurs players are linked to, as well as the manager and Postecoglou. Mm-hmm. So there may be a little link there towards that. But look, Kingsley Coman, French international, good player. Loan, must be a good buy for someone. But as I say, as far as interest towards Arsenal, I'm not heard anything too concrete as of yet.
Do you know what the fee would be? Oh, sorry, Keir.
No, I was about to say, do you think it'd be a good signing for Arsenal? Do you think they
Be
should
a
make-
loan with an obligation, but I don't know what the obligation is.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to for me, Keir. It's that fee at the end because obviously it'll be 29 at the end of the season. I'm surprised that Arsenal look at him because this whole beef at Bayern is he isn't getting 38 games a season.
Yeah, I don't think
That's
they
his
are.
whole problem. Yeah, like so. I'd be stunned if he was willing to come to Arsenal knowing he's going on the bench because he ain't getting in front of Saka. Like that's not happening. Decent enough player. Kingsley Coman's another one of him. Again, I won't lie, lads. It ain't just because he's linked with Arsenal. He's another one of them players that I think there's a lot of hype around him, and he really does a lot. Like he's really fast, but his end product is man. And if he's getting in numbers in Germany, you usually have to at least half it to come to England. Like you're talking like 4 goals, 4 assists a season sort of thing. Like, listen, you need a winger, you need a striker, in my opinion. If it was just a loan, great deal for the year. But if you're talking loan with an obligation of like 35, 40 mil for him, that would be
I think people are just putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 6. Garth. I think
it doesn't feel like an Arsenal signing to me. It really doesn't.
No, no, not to me. No, it does. The Sane one, look, there was
much
interest.
like it,
There is interest in there. Do you know what I mean? But it looks like he's going to renew a contract at Bayern. But I agree with you, Garth. I don't see this happening. I don't see that. As I say, I think people just putting 2 and 2 together, coming up with 6 because he can play on the left, play on the right, and sometimes can play down the middle as well. But no, I don't think so.
And finally, Leicester City are looking at an option to bring in Wilfried Zaha from Galatasaray. Another signing that Leicester City will be looking at. Interesting signing now. I think it'd be a decent signing for Leicester.
Great signing. I heard Palace are looking at him as well.
Bring him back.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And before we go, can I just say I'm super hyped for Matthijs de Ligt, as we haven't touched on it at all.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's headline.
That was the whole thing of the
program. And I'm talking about switching off. Go quickly before we go. Obviously, what we did is we made them wait for the main title. For the main event.
You have a teeth first.
Matthijs de Ligt in at Man United. Done deal. Good signing.
Yeah, 38 mil. I mean, that's great business all round. Listen, his talent is unquestionable. The only problem you got is the injuries that people talk about. I did a deep dive on it. It's not even a horrific injury. He had an inner ligament issue, so last season that kept him out for like 12 games. Apart from that, he's just taking a few knocks here and there. So listen, if he stays fit, I am hyped for that. Mazraoui, don't listen. Not that bothered about him. He's decent. He can play left back, right back, which is why we're bringing him in basically. Yeah. So he's an option. But Matthijs de Ligt, if we're talking about Matthijs de Ligt at Juventus first season, that's a great player. Say everywhere he goes, he wins the league as well. So you know what I'm saying in his first year. So watch out, lads. Watch out, lads. I'm well hyped for it. That's a great bit of business in my opinion. 38 mil for him or whatever it is. 40. I think it's 42.5 million euros, like whatever. Like it's a great bit of pounds overall once you put in the extras. Solid bit of business. I wait to see the wage packet because I don't want to find out it's a 300.
Let's worry about that.
320 grand wage packet.
One of the reasons he's leaving is because of his wages, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to know though. I just don't want to know about it. I don't want to know about it.
Wage bill. I think that's one of the things because I don't think it's so much because they don't rate him. I think it's more they can see better options for what they want. And his wages are too much for Bayern Munich. Like Bayern Munich have got a very strict wage policy, and if they're not playing, they're going to get rid of you. So it's not a surprise. I wouldn't read too much into to Bayern Munich.
24 as well. That's crazy. He's only 24 years old, man.
Well, he is.
I think one of the obviously we know his talent, but one of the major things he's got is his leadership. I'll never be able to forget him getting Ajax or helping Ajax get to the semi-finals of the Champions League, and the season before getting to the finals of the Europa League, or season before that, he was just the geezer was an absolute beast, pumping his chest, like cheering when he's winning tackles, getting the team up for everything, and he can play. Yeah. I think that's one thing that people forget, like a lot of talk about the lack of mobility he has and that he can get caught out.
That's what I was about to say. The speed of the Premier League may be an issue.
Yeah, but you've just got to adapt. We've seen it with other players where they haven't got the pace and they've questioned their ability. Then they get into the Premier League, like, I don't know why I questioned him. And it's always a thing in the Premier League. They always want to talk about mobility this, mobility that. But it's just that, like, sometimes it's just literally some players get not lazy is not the word, but some players get into a rut of, okay, this is how I'm going to tackle this. If you've got the right manager, he'll tell you, okay, you need to move your feet more. You need to. I saw Arteta come in. I hate to bring it back to Arsenal, but I saw Arteta come in, and one of the first videos that I saw was him with Granit Xhaka. Yeah, and all the talk was about how Granit Xhaka lacks mobility. The first two videos I saw, the training sessions, was Arteta talking about how Xhaka needs to be on his toes and not just going and pivoting on one foot. Move. Actually move. Move your body, move your feet. From there, Granit Xhaka was a different player under Arteta. And it's not necessarily a case of he's got no mobility. Sometimes it's just a case of he needs training in a different way. He needs this, he needs that. So, yeah, no, I think it's a very good sign for Man United.
This can't be right. I'm reading an article saying that we're paying him 65 grand a week. That can't be true. It can't be. They're saying he's on 3.4 million a year. And I've just done the maths. That would be 300 a week.
Nah.
So that's got. I mean,
even if he was on that at Bayern Munich, no way he's going to be on that at Man United, is there?
I mean, this can't be right. This is from Eurosport, though. Right? So there's no way that's the truth. He's got to be on six. He's got to be on six figures. Of course, he has. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah. I think this is what I would call a big signing.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah.
I think De Ligt's someone who I've admired for a long while. And I think, like, especially for the money that they're paying for him. Again, hoping that he stays fit, forgetting the injuries. Let's look on the positives. Let's take it on the fact that he's going to come in and he's going to stay fit. This for me could be, player wise, sort of combining with value for money. Ten Hag's best signing. It really could.
You're forgetting Anthony, bruv. You're forgetting Anthony there, mate. Come on now.
But he could, because like 38 million for like someone who's was up there, was one of the best young centre halves in Europe at the time. Okay, he's dropped off a bit, but that's been mainly due to injuries. But yeah, I mean, we've slagged off Man United or had a go at them in the past for paying a little bit, especially last season. We're paying just too much for players. This is a good deal. This is how you would think that you would hope Man United fans would hope to go the way that it would go on, buying in players of that, convincing them to come. But because from what I'm sort of been hearing over the last few months, he's always wanted Man United for a long while now for some reason. We tried to get him when we played him in the Europa League final, and when Juventus coming with the bigger bid.
Those things make a big difference. Yeah, they honestly do. I remember talk of Martin Ødegaard coming to Arsenal, and a part that played in it was the fact that before he joined Real Madrid, he came and did a tour around Arsenal with Arsene Wenger, and it was like, they've wanted me for a long time. It 100% plays a part in it, because players want to feel wanted, especially when they've been rejected by two big clubs. When Man United come in and they've already been a few when you was coming up, like we're human. Do you know what I mean? It has that connection. I'm just read two places that says he's on 250 a week.
I was going to say, man, there's no way. You're still taking a mick with that one. I don't know where they pulled that number out. I think they missed the one off of the 13.4 million a year instead of the 3.4 million a year. Just quickly on his injuries. He hasn't played less than. He got 30 games last year. A lot of that was also like coming in and out of the team. 43 the year before, 42 the year before that, 36 the year before that, 39 the year before that. There's a lot of his injuries. There's not a lot of injury to him, honestly. He has a couple of knocks and niggles here and there, but you're not talking 6-8 week layoffs all the time. You're talking like a game. I'm happy with it, man.
I mean, just like Man United. Just for Man United fans watching, I don't think they're done. Not by a long shot. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they brought a couple of players in, more players in before. Yeah. Yeah. I've
Fair
seen
play.
spoken to a couple of people, and
There's the
you know,
Hermoso, isn't there? The freebie
not
centre back that we're looking at. I know that
yeah,
one.
I wouldn't be surprised if you bring in another forward player. Yeah,
What about players out?
not.
Sorry, I know time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll see that as well. I think Man United are going to be doing a lot of business in ins and outs in the last 2.5 weeks. I think a lot of stuff's going to be done in the next. I think you're going to see Liverpool going to be bringing players these last 2.5 weeks. I think you're going to see a lot of business. Edu's already sort of given a hint towards Arsenal and sort of said on was it Sky Sports that Arsenal players are not going to be disappointed this window. So Arsenal fans. So I got the funny feeling that Arsenal are up to something quite large before the windows close. So yeah, there's a lot. There's this last couple of 2.5 weeks from what I'm hearing. Because you've even got to look at it. City we've spoken about haven't really done anything. Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal only brought like one in. Manchester United, I've been told, have still got stuff to do. There's a lot of big clubs who still are still working hard out there to bring players in. There's going to be some big names moving.
Yeah, I think clubs like to play. It's one of them two things. You either get your player well early and get the deals out of the way, or you leave it right till the end when the clubs are sweating and thinking, "Oh God, I need to get this player off the books." Okay, I wanted 50. I'll take 35.
Yeah.
And they're like 25, and you're like, 28. 25.
You can tell that these sustainability rules have really hurt teams, especially in the Premier League. You can tell this transfer window. You can tell a lot of people. It feels like it. I know Newcastle. You may know better than this. That's a 1 in 1 out at the moment. Newcastle, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like Wolves, teams like Wolves, a team that are struggling financially. There's a lot of clubs that you wouldn't expect to be struggling are struggling. January was kind of set the tone for how it's going to be for a little while. Like there was literally, I think it's the lowest amount of spent on transfers in like 5 or 6 years, which is crazy. So even since COVID. So yeah, it's not surprising that the people are trying to get the most out of players and to be fair, I'm not against it. I think it was going a bit silly. Some of the fees that were going around were ridiculous.
Stupid.
Yeah, an interesting one as well.
But some of the players that are going for astronomical fees, it's just it's getting silly.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, I don't know how true this is, but I was reading a quote from an Aston Villa scout. I think his name was Brian King. I don't know if he was a former scout or he's a scout there now, but he's been quoted as saying that Aston Villa have been knocking around and looking at Ivan Toney. So yeah, look, let's just put that one out there because maybe could Watkins be going? He's off somewhere. Won't be surprised.
Like breadcrumbs here for Watkins to ask. That was the big to ask.
I wasn't actually. I was more thinking of Man City coming in for something like a Watkins. Down.
Watkins can't be that silly. It can't be that silly.
But he's 20.
Do you know what? I
he's 29, 30 now, though, Garth. He's coming up to 30.
It's not that ridiculous. It's one of them ones.
Yeah.
It's one of them ones where it's like you're like no, but then you see the players and you think to yourself, are they getting to the point where they're thinking last big move?
Yeah, no, you're both right.
Big money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win something.
Yeah, he looks about 21, didn't he, Watkins? But
it's crazy, yeah.
He's done his hard time in the lower leagues. That's why.
Yeah.
Like he's done his slog. He's gone up through the leagues. That's why he's one of those players. Works hard. Just to like look at Jamie Vardy come through the leagues. Just what you get with him.
Yeah.
Works hard, puts it on target because that's what he was when he was younger.
Straight away, I thought Aston Villa scout. Okay, that's someone you've got to really listen to, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you think like, yeah, they've been looking at Toney. So straight away, you just like your mind starts like doing 20 to the dozen, doesn't it? You know, and you think, okay, they're looking at Toney. What does that mean? Is Watkins actually leaving? He's 30 now. City just sold Alvarez. Could they bring him in and then Aston Villa bring in Toney?
How many games does Toney get in a season in all competitions?
And they get 50 million spare money in their bank as well.
It's good business for Villa. It does that. Toney at Man City, you're talking about, or Toney?
At Villa.
Watkins. How many games does Watkins get all competitions if he goes Man City?
Starts
similar to Alfred's, probably.
Yeah, 15 starts, 25 to 30 appearances overall, banging 15, 20 goals off that because he's played for Man City.
And I'm sorry, but if you're Ollie Watkins, that's quite appealing.
Yeah. He's 28 as well. So last big move. He's 29 in a couple of months' time.
Oh, is that what he is? 29?
Yeah, but still, 1 year in it, Steve. But you're right, exactly. Yeah. Get a free 4 Man City on nice wages. Go along, win a couple of trophies here and there. I'm not saying Man City are going to win the league.
You go and move to another club in the Premier League anyway.
Man. You go back to Aston Villa. You go back to Aston Villa.
Full circle now, mate.
We're taking. We'll take him. I'm not saying we won't take him.
The shot at all. I think Kevin said a couple of times that he would love Ollie Watkins to come to Man City. So, watch this space, people.
It just shames he goes there when they don't win a title. But
I'd love that. I'd love that. I would love it.
Teddy Sheringham. Well, he won the treble the next year, actually. So don't do it. I don't even Man City winning the second.
He won the treble because I went to the charity show.
Oh, he hated Arsenal, didn't he?
That day, and it was Arsenal 1-2-1.
Oh, it's 2-1 that one.
David Beckham scored a banging free kick, but Teddy Sheringham was walking down the line and we were singing, "Oh, Teddy, you went to Man United and you won." Cool, yeah.
I remember when I went to. Oh, sorry, mate. Go on.
He stood on the sidelines and he pretended to pick up a treble like that.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Scored? Did he score? He scored in both the FA Cup final and the Champions League final as well. Teddy Sheringham.
He always scored against Arsenal. Teddy Sheringham. I hated him. I
go on these players with like the stats of, he wasn't a bagsman, he wasn't this, he was.
No, Teddy Sheringham was a different player, man. Teddy Sheringham was
10.
Cerebral. Yeah, like he was on him. He had no pace. He didn't have any skill, but he knew where to be. He knew where to be. He knew where to be for that ball, man. So
Like, he was actually so stiff as well. Like I remember, he linked everything. Everything, and he scored important goals as well. So quality player. Yeah. All right, that is all we have time for. Thank you very much for everyone who joined us today. Simon, Russ, who else we got in there? TH. All right, see, and everyone who's watching us on YouTube and Twitter as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Carl.
Pleasure as always. Thanks for having me, lads.
And thank you very much for joining us tonight, Steve.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you.
Make sure you go and follow Steve on Twitter. I can't call it X.
I think it's exhibit. Every time I said it, I'm just like, X. X. Bro. Yeah. Gonna pimp my ride, bruv. Like, get out of here.
I'm not a fan of Elon Musk either. Staring at me.
He's a crank, mate. Anyway, so we shouldn't get into politics on this show. We shouldn't get into politics.
And if you want us to talk about politics, we can open up another podcast. Not today. Make sure you go and follow Steve on Twitter for all the latest transfer news and exclusives. Make sure you follow us on Twitter as well, the Transfer Exchange Show, and hit that like and subscribe as well. And if you are watching on Twitter at the moment, press that retweet and press that like as well. It all helps. Appreciate your support. Peace out, people.
Oh, you all right?
Kiss Dines.
Tell me I love him. Tell Rose mate.
Not before the start of the season, please. No, hang on.
So it's live on YouTube.
Or at least we'll get some. They'll go viral. Man chokes to death live on YouTube video.
On his own saliva. What's going on? I'm old. I'm officially old. God. All right. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.